Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome on in, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. Thanks for being with us on the program. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen, JJ and Alex with you on a Wednesday edition of the program. It's another shortened edition of the show. Let me describe for you the complications of having boo-hoo two major sports teams in the market here. Both are on the East Coast. Would they call each other? You think this is funny? Bill Armstrong and Austin Ainge call each other and go, when are you guys going to be on the East Coast? Oh, we'll go too. They're doing it at the same time. Isn't that how it works? Oh, are they on the same plane? They save money that way. Hey,
charter together.
Can you drop us off in Charlotte on Sunday on you guys' way out to Buffalo? That'd be great. Actually, you know what? That would actually kind of be a fun, little team building action. Have an NBA team on the charter.
It's a great opportunity for content. Social media director's biggest dream.
Oh, regardless, what you have now is the Mammoth and the Jazz both kicking off their pregames at 4 o'clock. So we are less than an hour away from getting you both the Mammoth and the Jazz on the 1280 and 97.5 signals, respectively. So there you go. We'll keep you updated on how that's going to work out. So in the meantime, JJ, nothing happened last night in the world of college football for us to be able to talk about.
We only have an hour.
I know.
And we're going to hammer that hard. But first, we have to acknowledge the bad news from the Jazz, right? Walker Kessler being out?
Yes, Walker Kessler, the shoulder injury, which we saw him go down with on
Gosh, dang it.
I just think that, out for the rest of the year with the shoulder surgery, torn labrum, yes?
Torn labrum, out for the year. He looked so good before the injury.
Yeah.
And obviously the contract situation, which I don't think is going to be impacted by this. I think the Jazz know who he is, and I think the league knows who he is. You just saw so much development in becoming a leader and taking his game to another level. He was making threes this year. I was excited to see what he had in store this year and to have it cut short like that so early in the season. I mean, last year you saw Taylor Hendricks go down with a serious injury, out for the year really early in the season. It's just, can this franchise buy a break? And I don't mean that as a pun. Can they get a break here?
Can they buy a tear?
When is something amazing going to happen for this franchise? It just feels like they're just this constant adversity, and then you're like trying to put a positive spin on the adversity, which you have to do as a human beings. And then something else happens. You're like, oh, well, I guess we'll get them next time. You know what I mean? Like the lottery and injuries and everything is just not going this franchise's way, and this feels like the latest.
Yeah, and it's a bummer because, but I will say, for those of you who are watching this thing go down, there's one less piece of the puzzle on, hey, how are you going to make sure that you do get a little bit further down? And that's a terrible way to look at it, but, I mean, this is the world we live in now. Like, you go, shoot, Walker Kessler, he was playing nice. This team's still going to win games, but the question is, you go to a place like Detroit tonight and you wonder how the team's going to do on the road after a nice emotional win over Boston the other night. Great. But then it hits the team hard when you get news like this.
Yeah.
Dude, Walker's out for the rest of the year. Like, I actually prefer this to the dragging it out deal that we would have gotten the updates on the injury every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That whole game. It's no fun to be able to watch, and it just keeps going. We'll reevaluate in another 6 weeks, and then you just go, ugh. So in this sense, you sort of rip the Band-Aid off, get the surgery in, and then you worry about what the rest of his contract is going to look like. At the end of the season, you're going to have to figure out if another team offers him as a restricted free agent, are you going to match that? What's that limit? What's that going to look like? How committed are you to? What's your commitment level to? I want to keep Walker Kessler here for the rest of however long we can get him. If you're Austin Ainge and Danny Ainge and the Jazz, these are all questions. So that's obviously one that we got to get out of the way. We've got a chunk of sound to play for you if you missed it from Hanson Scotty from earlier. We'll get started here. Let's play the cut here. We'll get going officially. I do want to listen to that to make sure that we hear what he said, though, just to make sure that we lead with that. But let's get going with the cut here, top of the program.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program. Before we get into talking about the college football playoff rankings, I did want to play the comments that Danny Ainge had made about Walker Kessler being out the rest of the year. He was on with Hans and Scotty on his weekly Wednesday sit down with those guys. And so here's what Danny Ainge said about the news of Walker Kessler being out the rest of the season.
Walker Kessler, the Jazz just announced that he will undergo season-ending surgery. How do you, as somebody that's close to these guys, but also part of the front office, your heart breaks for a guy that's going through this. What's the message to somebody that's dealing with a season-ending injury?
Well, Walker's a big part of our team, and it's a real bummer first. It's like a bummer for everybody. He's put in a lot of work this summer. He got off to a really good start this year. Yeah, it's very unfortunate for everybody involved.
With where he's at kind of in his career, talk about the impact that this has on him and what he needs to do to kind of get back into it and get back to where he needs to be.
It's a shoulder surgery, and most players come back from it really well. I have all the faith in Walker and our team that it'll put him back together physically, and so it's a real important time for him to just watch and study and be around and help all the young players and learn himself, and keeps, diving into the film and paying attention mentally how he can get better there.
How's his spirits? He's one of the most positive people you'll ever meet, happy-go-lucky, but this is a kick to the gut. How's he handling the news, and what you and Will Hardy and Austin, what's your message been to him?
I think that just hang in there. It's not fun going through these things as players, but like I said, this is an injury that most everybody comes back from feeling better. Walker's had some shoulder issues and missed some games with shoulder pain, and so it'll be good to get it resolved. It's just not fun while we're going through it in the middle of the year when, we were counting big things from him.
So whose minutes does this impact? Who will we see kind of pick up those extra minutes, especially on the young guy side?
Well, I think we got to go look outside, but I think inside we have some good players that help us in the meantime. But we're going to continue to look and try to strengthen our team the best we can.
When you say outside, I guess everything's on the table, from trade, G League to wherever you can find good players, I guess.
Yeah, Oscar is down in the G League, and Mo Bamba's down in the G League, and they're starting their season quick. Nurkic and Kevin Love will hold the fort down. Taylor Hendricks will probably get some minutes at center, is my guess. Kyle Filipowski played some center second half of last year and played really well, especially on the offensive end. So we have some other options in-house right now, and we're excited to give them opportunities.
There you go, Danny Ainge, talking about the Walker Kessler injury. That's a bummer, obviously, for fans too. It's another big name that's not on the marquee when you have the kids and you go sit down over at Delta Center. So that's the big bummer, right? But it's also part of the game. This is how it works. It just is not one that you want to see happen to one of the bigger names on the franchise. So we'll keep you posted on that one. But rest of the year, I'm interested to see how they do get creative with it. Taylor Hendricks plays bigger than his size. He's an insane talent. Filipowski, man, if that guy's going to grow up and be an NBA guy, playing defense has got to be a part of that. And he's not there yet. You heard Danny Ainge at the end there go, especially on the offensive side of the ball, which really just to say not really on the defensive side of things. If you're talking about replacing Walker Kessler, you can't. It's hard to replace the second best blocker in the league right now. And doing that is a tall order. So the reality is they'll have to figure some things out. In the meantime, let's jump in here. We have a lot to talk about with this college football playoff ranking and how this thing goes down.
You and I haven't talked about this at all. You had the show with Mitch last night on 102.7.
I am. It's all still kind of fresh for me. It also, you get these very first rankings are going to look so much different than they are in the next month. When you talk about this being the first one, and I don't even know how actually, somebody asked me, they go, how many of these rankings do they do? Well, every Tuesday all the way up until the 9th, basically, right? Or that Sunday, the 7th.
After championship Saturday.
Right, so the 7th on that Sunday, so you're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4 more rankings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. So the official last one will be the 5th. So we've got more than a month of, and for BYU, 4 more games. For TCU, 4 more games. These teams have to figure some things out here. Where your rankings are at the beginning of the college football playoff rollout of these rankings matters a ton. Utah fans should be ecstatic that the Utes are at 13.
Oh, my gosh.
The question is, when they do the quote-unquote reset every week like they're going to, like they said, we're just going to start from scratch and rank everybody, re-rank everybody again. So you're telling me it's just going to be a blank slate and they're going to suddenly come up with Ohio State every week over the next few weeks? I doubt it. But I do think that that's a great sign that people look at what Utah's doing, and they've already painted a picture for themselves, JJ, which is you don't just win games from here on out. You obviously have to win every game. You've got to make it to where people cannot avoid talking about you. And the way you do that is obliterating teams on both sides of the football, which they've done the last 3 weeks. That's why they're at 13 is because how they've taken care of business the last few weeks.
I mean, look what they did at Arizona State, which is a ranked team. Absolutely obliterated them. Their only 2 losses are to the 7th and 8th ranked teams in the college football playoff rankings.
Pretty good resume, yeah.
And so I know Utah fans were frustrated with the Texas Tech loss, and obviously it goes without saying the BYU loss. But outside of that, this team has racked up a lot of yards on offense. They've been outstanding on defense. They're top 10 in both in the country, which anytime you have those metrics, it's pretty impressive. And then by the metrics, the committee says they rank these teams. When Utah has those kind of offensive and defensive numbers, when they have that type of production and the margin of victory that they have in their wins, they put themselves in this position. You look at them where they're at right now, and they're in that group of 2-loss SEC teams in Notre Dame. That's actually a pretty good place to be. And it's a compliment to Utah that they're in that position. The thing for Utah now is to just take care of business. But maybe you can't just take care of business. You need to do it in dominant fashion.
Yeah.
You have got, like
Absolutely.
you're saying, you have got to kick the crap out of Baylor on the road. You've got to crush Kansas State at Rice-Eccles Stadium. And then you've got to finish strong by going to Lawrence, which is a weird place to play.
Make it a stadium.
I went there. Remember the BYU game 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
It was, for whatever reason, it's just a weird place to play. And Kansas does well at home. You got to finish strong, and it's possible that even without getting to the Big 12 championship game, which is going to be very tough for Utah because of the situation they're in with having lost to Texas Tech and BYU, they lose those tiebreakers. One of those teams would have to get to a third loss in order for them to get there, unless there's a weird tiebreaker scenario, which, again, that's the odd. We've seen it before back in the Pac-12 days, but it's not likely. But Utah now has a path to the college football playoff without getting to the Big 12 championship game. Alex, I didn't think that was even remotely possible. Based on week 1 at number 13, it absolutely is, because chaos could ensue for certain. Oklahoma and Texas, they could absolutely lose again. Notre Dame, do they slip up on the road at Pitt? Pittsburgh's playing really good football right now. I don't know. I think a lot of teams would like to see Notre Dame take a loss. It's going to open something up. And by the way, why does Notre Dame even in the discussion? They have 2 losses.
They're
being rewarded for having lost to Texas A&M.
The amount of
their
boosts that they get,
garbage.
Yeah. So obviously, from the perspective of the teams here locally, BYU, of course, at 7, which I think they opened up last year at 6 when they were 9-0 going into their first loss. They actually were in that pretty high up. They were either 6 or 7, and that's when they lost 2 games. Losing 2 games at this point of the year is like a death sentence. You could do the Notre Dame thing and lose it at the beginning, and then go on a win streak, and then suddenly you're a darling. However, BYU ends up at that 7 spot. Did they get shorted? Because there are a lot of arguments for it. There are 4 undefeated teams: Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and BYU at the FBS level. Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Texas A&M 3, and then BYU 7. In front of them are Ole Miss, Georgia. Ole Miss's only loss is to Georgia. Georgia's only losses to Alabama, who is in front of them at 4. So the committee was asked about that, and he's like, "No, listen. The amount of the crazy run that those teams have made in winning these games against ranked opponents and blah blah blah." So BYU is already at that 7 spot, which would put them, according to this bracket, the way that it's set up right now, hosting a Notre Dame 10 seed in LaVell Edwards Stadium on December 19th. Now, obviously, things will not stay at that level. Texas Tech, if it were like this today, would be hosting Oregon down there in Lubbock. 2 Big 12 teams would be hosting the first round. I think the reality is either BYU or Texas Tech, the way this game is going to roll out this weekend, is likely going to be a conference champion at some point also. I mean, if BYU can somehow beat Texas Tech this weekend, and I think that's a tall ask.
I think we're going to see a rematch in a Big 12 championship game in Arlington.
The problem with a rematch is most people have, if BYU loses to Texas Tech twice, they would be eliminated. And I'm always like, to whom? And they're like, yeah, to Notre Dame or to a third or fourth SEC or Big Ten team, and that's a tough pill to swallow, because you would be talking at that point of, I think that if Texas Tech does that, wins out, and they win the conference championship game, and they have 2 wins over BYU to get there, they'll likely be that number 3 or 4 seed in that, and so an auto bid for them, and then you wouldn't have a second conference championship appearance. It would actually hurt BYU to go to the conference championship game at that point. And I think you probably would actually see a higher ranked Utah team if they win out, because Utah's going, you guys go to the Big 12 championship game. We're going to just wait here and just kind of and wait and see what the committee's going to do. They would dare the committee to not put them in after their resume stacked up against others have a loss against BYU and a loss against Texas Tech, and then just killing everybody else the rest of the way and getting better the rest of the way. They give kudos to great playing quarterbacks. They give kudos to awesome defenses. They give kudos to the style points. And so these would be considered, quote unquote, good losses. And so it's great where Utah is, because I don't think that they have to necessarily say, put us in the conference championship game. I think it's a benefit. I think they could be conference champions. If they get to that game, they could definitely win that game if it's against BYU or Texas Tech or whomever it might be. But it's going to be hard to lose twice, one of those losses in the Big 12 championship game, and for the committee to ask the committee to put you above a Texas team. They may have lost 2 games at that point and is not playing in a conference championship game. They will dare you to put BYU ahead of Oklahoma who has 2 losses, right? They'll dare you to do that. And it's crazy to me, but that's the way that this works. You are not the SEC or the Big Ten, and currently the way that people treat you is like you're going to see the Big 12 treated at the end of this year, which is, I think, probably getting shafted. The reality is that it's kind of set up right now like you could almost see them getting 3 teams in, the way that they've set this up. But I don't think that's going to happen.
I think the Big 12 would be deserving.
It just will never happen. It'll be either, it sounds like you could maybe get 3 teams in the Big 12.
Why not?
But they're going to put one in.
I could make a case for BYU, Utah, and Texas Tech based on what they've accomplished. You're trying to get the 12 best teams in there. I mean, what are they doing that the SEC is? I don't buy that crap.
Texas
barely beat UTEP. What is their resume? How many bad games has Texas had this year?
So Oregon is an interesting study here. Okay, Oregon is the 9th ranked team right now in the college football playoff.
7-1.
At 7-1. Their next, and their loss, of course, is to number 2 Indiana. Not bad. Their next 3 games go like this. Ranked Iowa. At Iowa. So Iowa snuck in at number 20 in the college football playoff rankings last night. They play Minnesota at home. Then they have to play number 19 USC, who is 19th in the college football playoff ranking, and go to Washington to play number 23 Washington on the road in Seattle. There are 3 ranked teams in front of them. Tell me that's not hard. If they get a second loss, then you're talking about an Oregon team that you're going to see some arguments being made for Dan Lanning's guys to get into the college football playoff, to sneak in with those 2 losses, ahead of a 2-loss BYU team possibly, or ahead of a 2-loss Texas Tech team, or ahead of a 2-loss Utah team. You're going to be going up against it. What you need is, because if they lose the second game, they're not going to the Big Ten championship game. And then they're the Indiana of last year.
Which isn't bad.
Yeah, you get in.
Look, there's plenty of history that says that the team that doesn't go to the championship game in their conference benefits from it. How many times has Ohio State made the playoff because they didn't play in that championship game? We've seen it before.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think last year was one of those years, right?
Penn State had to take that L.
Everything worked out just fine for Ohio State. They didn't miss anything. They won national championships without winning a Big Ten championship.
So if we're going to look at it, well, then let's do it like this. Who ends up winning this national championship this year? Easy. This is easy math. the number 8 seeded Texas Tech Red Raiders are going to be your national champions. just like you drew it up.
Well, unlike last year, this year the top 4 is not going to be soft. Let's just say that.
No. You're not going to have a Boise State sneak in.
Or Arizona State at 3, which, right? They were 3?
No, they were.
Boise State was 3, and they were 4.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were the 4 or 5. That's right.
Yeah, it's hard to do. That's hard to do.
For reference, by the way, BYU in the initial rankings last year was 9th. In week 11, they moved up to 6th.
That's when they went up to 6th.
And then the Kansas loss occurred.
So they were 8-0 going in, just like they were last year. They won that game against Utah.
Yep.
There in Salt Lake. And
at 9-0, moved up to number 6.
And then they lost those 2 games
ahead
in a row.
Of Tennessee,
one
ahead
of them
of
was
Notre Dame.
One of them was to Kansas. One of them was to future conference champion Arizona State. And SMU got in ahead of them in the college football playoffs. That later people looked at and went, we didn't think about BYU. That's part of the problem. Is later people will go, you think Utah got shafted? I don't know. They were 2 losses. They're pretty good. Did we let a 2-loss Texas team in for real? Yeah, but look at their resume. It's so hard to watch.
Heisman Trophy candidate Arch Manning.
And look, Steve Sarkisian, you know what did you see his press conference yesterday too? He goes, I thought it was a joke that we only got 3 teams from the SEC. And really? 3 teams in the SEC? And I'm going,
crap.
The elbows that get put out this time of year, the jostling for position on the track, the put yourself in front of the politicking that goes on.
They had 4, by the way.
The politicking that goes on. Did they have 4?
Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss.
Texas A&M didn't go to the you're saying right now.
Correct. You're talking about last year.
Yeah. But they had 3 last year. Can you believe the politicking that goes on in the SEC and the Big Ten? Well, obviously you need to put 4 of us in there, or 5.
Well, you saw Nick Saban doing it a couple years ago when he was still coaching. They all do it. They all get on TV and they brag about it drives me nuts too. Like, just prove it on the field, man. Just let your resume on the field. Like, if you have to go on TV and make your case, come on.
So, where the rankings are, I don't know if you're a BYU or Utah fan, if you feel like the team got a bigger boost than you thought they were going to get. I don't know one Utah fan that goes, oh, for sure I had them at 13 or 12. No way. Because 17 was where the AP poll had them, and I know that this poll's different, quote unquote, but to go up to 13 and then to look at yourself and go, if you win this thing out and just watch the flies drop in front of you, you're in a great spot. You're in a really, really good spot. If they had started out at 17 in this poll, more work to do. There's just more teams you got to mow down that would be the slew of 2-loss teams or not very good 1-loss teams in front of them that they'd have to wade through that mess to be able to be a part of the conversation. Instead, great start for them off of this. I think BYU is actually probably right where they need to be. The reality is they're going to lose 1 game at least the rest of the way. I don't think they're going to stay undefeated. My thought is they're going to lose at Texas Tech this weekend.
If they win on Saturday.
But what would you do? But where do they go from there? If they lose, how far do they fall? Do they go behind Utah after those first rankings come out?
No.
So there's a little bit of a backstop. That's the other thing. BYU fans should be excited where Utah is because
what is the backstop? That's what's going to be interesting.
Is next week, are they going to, after a bye week, are they going to go, soft bye week for the Utes? Really soft bye week.
Do they drop behind Notre Dame?
Didn't like how they played during that. Didn't like some of their practices during the bye week. It's like, come on. So if Utah could stay against there, then both Texas Tech and BYU have a little bit of a backstop for the rankings, I think. Because I don't think that they're going to keep making them go backward. I think Utah's proven too much over the past 3 weeks for the committee. And you know what? They benefit from the fact that this is a team that is a Power 4 previous co-champion in recent memory, right? The last couple of 5 years. So anyway, all right. Did you get it all out? I have way more to talk about, but we got to do it.
I know we could do a whole hour. I'm thrilled, though. I'm thrilled for BYU and Utah because they're both in position they've never been before. BYU was last year, but this feels different.
This is what you wanted for this conference, right?
This is different this year for BYU. Yeah. And Utah to be 13, my gosh, you got to be thrilled because it is absolutely possible, even without getting to the Big 12 championship, that you could possibly sneak into that college football playoff, the 12-team field, if chaos ensues in front of you.
All right, let's take a quick break here. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner when we return. We've got a Win Ticket Wednesday, some tickets to give away next. Did I? Yes, Trajan Wealth. I already told you about Trajan Wealth. Okay, Just go to TrajanWealth.com. Check it out for yourself. Get your retirement going in style. We'll come back. We've got more to go around the corner. Stay here. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
The exclusive home of the Utah Mammoth is on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nice play by Marino to pass it to himself. He lays it back. Keller across. Schmaltz shoots and scores! Nick Schmaltz puts Utah in front. Number 9 found number 8, as they often do. Keller in the offensive zone. He has an assist here tonight. Keller on the attack, skates downhill and scores! The captain says goodnight in Buffalo.
We got better as the game went on. Then an OT there. Veggie makes an unbelievable save, and Sergey tells him he's got time to play it, and that makes a difference there. And then we go down and I make a nice move. It's nice to see it going for sure.
You're locked into JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Oh, the humility from Clayton Killer on that one. I mean, gosh, I guess I made a pretty good move. Veggie, great save. I guess I made an okay move. It's nice to see it go in the back of the net. Yeah! 2-1 last night in Buffalo.
Captain Clutch.
He comes in clutch, and I'll tell you, get 2 points on the road, man.
It was great.
It's all you ask for from your guys is figure it out. Figure out how to win in those situations, and then you learn something. And those moments are things that you can build on. I talk all the time about the skill of learning how to win those tight games, and it's in every sport. And there are feelings that are associated with being tied late in a game, on the road. All these things add up in your head. So where's your brain when it comes down to it? And Clayton Keller puts in the winner last night. They go up 2-1. That's how they win that, or that they win that one in overtime. And it's Buffalo's playing better hockey than they did last year, for sure. It's early, but they're definitely playing better than they did. They have a little bit more juice, right?
Yeah, look at their record. Much improved. And they just haven't been able to get those overtime wins.
They keep going to overtime and losing.
Yep.
and again, like I said, that's a skill, going overtime and getting the win. And so can your team do it? And the Mammoth did it again last night. And when you're far, far away from home and you're wearing the white jerseys on the road, nice to have the captain pull one in for a win, but they get another 2 points, and they're up to 18 on the season, and here we are, 9-4. Watching this team just move along up the standings there.
They got another tough one here in about an hour and 20 minutes in Toronto. We'll see how that goes. But let's enjoy the win last night because it was great. And on paper, you're like, 3-2 overtime win over Buffalo? What's the big deal? Well, if you listen to Coach Bear Turney in his comments after the game, he was raving about how well his team played. And you're thinking, well, they didn't even score a goal in the first 2 periods. Well, Veggie was awesome
on
in
fire.
that.
Yes,
he was great.
Killer saves.
They were playing good hockey. They just weren't getting the goals to go in. But they played really good hockey last night. It was a really good game. And again, this team keeps finding ways to win in overtime. They have no overtime losses this year. None. And how many times? This is the fourth overtime they've been in?
Yep.
And they find ways to win. There's just so much confidence in this team that if they get to that overtime, they have the skill guys that can go score in 3-on-3. And so if you just get to overtime, this team's going to win. And that's amazing confidence to have. Just this team keeps taking one step after another to getting better. And the game in Buffalo was another step. Coming off a 2-game losing streak, you drop 2, you can start to question things a little bit. The confidence can wane a little bit. Not at all. They played really good hockey last night. They start the trip with the right way by getting that win. They get it in overtime, a dramatic victory. Were you not entertained? I know the first 2 periods, if you like to see a lot of goals, you weren't. But how did you not like the ending of that game? That was fun.
Yeah, coaches love defense way more than the fans do. That's for sure.
Right.
I mean, that's just the way it works. But the fans do love some crazy stops, which is what Veggie had last night. Just killer stops, one after the next, and just it's nice to have one of the best goaltenders in the league between the pipes for the Utah Mammoth. Hey, call in number 12 right now. It's a Win Ticket Wednesday. All you have to do is call us. That's all you have to do to win. Call number 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. Gets a 4-pack of tickets to step into the magic at Holiday Lights at the ballpark at America First Square. A brand new immersive holiday tradition opening up on November 14th. We've got a pack of 4 tickets for you and your family right now. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-9663. We'll take a break. We'll get you ready for the Utah Jazz coming up in Detroit. They've got a big one tonight as well on the road in the Eastern Time Zone. So stay right here with us, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Your daily deep dive into everything Utah Jazz. It's time! All season long and even in the off season. It's Jazz Daily with JJ and Alex on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back. You can nominate the Youth Sports Volunteer for the Hercules Hero of the Week program. Right here on JJ and Alex, we read those winners off every Thursday. You nominate a winner by just going to KSLSports.com/contests and then making that nomination, and the winners, we read them off every Thursday. We'll do it tomorrow, and they get a prize from Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals, both of whom are great sponsors of that program. JJ, we've got a short time here. Get you ready for the Jazz and the Pistons tonight. The Jazz, of course, coming off a big win at Boston on, was it Sunday? I'm not trying to think about it. Monday. On Monday. The news of Walker Kessler, interesting to see how the team will react. I bet you'll see the team kind of juiced up a little bit. I mean, you see how adverse news for programs a lot of times, you'll see them have that like a quick burst of, hey, man, let's go out there and get this thing going. I don't know how good the Pistons are. We were told they were supposed to be phenomenal this year. They had a great season last year, probably the most improved franchise over the past 3 years in the NBA are the Detroit Pistons. What are they going to face tonight in Detroit when the Jazz face off against the Pistons?
Well, they're going to face a really good team, as we learned last year. That was a team that made the playoffs last year. They got a superstar in Cunningham. That's a team looking to take it to another level, and it's going to be tough. I'm going to do Jazz fans a favor that want the Jazz to win, because I know some fans don't want the Jazz to win. I cursed it's my fault the Jazz won in Boston because I said they had no chance. So I'm going to say it again right now. The Jazz have no chance in Detroit. There's no way they beat the Pistons, especially without Walker Kessler. Jazz get beat by 40.
Hey, Mark, the look on our producer, Alex Napolis' face.
I'm joking. The Jazz will be competitive. I think it's going to be tough for the Jazz to get the win tonight in Detroit.
It will be tough to get the win.
It's a good team. It's a long road trip. But, hey, this team, maybe they come together. It's just, you're right. We talked about it at the start of the show. It's such a downer, right?
Yeah, it's
emotionally,
terrible.
How do you get up after hearing the news that your teammate's out? It's tough.
Yeah, and I just think that but I do think that the team rallies on moments like that. I don't think they rally for very long. It's like when a team fires their coach, what happens the next week? Like, we're going to fight our butts off for the interim or for the guy who
only
left.
Get you so far.
Because they want to prove to people too, like, we aren't a bad team. We're not broken.
Yeah,
all right.
It
was
not
that
us.
guy, or
it's not us,
or we'll prove to you our hearts are in it. So we'll see. The reality is that I'm interested to see how they're gonna answer this thing. Nurkic is a great option. He is also not in his prime anymore. So
you're going to see more Kevin Love minutes, right? They're going to try. I imagine they'll try to use Flip at the 5, but I don't think he's a 5 in the NBA.
Certainly not defending,
right?
And so that's the part I think that people look at and they go, "What are you going to do?" So Jazz and look, it's not fun to go on the road after you find out that one of your best players is going to be out the rest of the season, and that's also a weird thing too. Is that how do they stay close to the team in that sense? Walker's got to go into this rehab version of where he's at and what he's doing, and you just hope that everybody kind of stays on board with one another and kind of with the team as well. So, all right, here's what it looks like. You've got the Utah Jazz are going to be on 97.5 on the FM signal. 1280 is where you're going to get the Mammoth tonight. Because they both kick off their pregames right now, top of the hour. And then when the coaches show hits tonight, you're going to be able to hear Scotty G and Bronco Mendenhall on HD2. That's 102.7 HD2, and then the X Stream as well. All right, we'll take a break here. Back tomorrow, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.